Hello my friends, thanks for your support. It's nice and really motivating. In the last few days I was thinking about a different subject. You know, I love nature in every its aspects. And the space with its stars, galaxies and nebulas are so fascinating to me that when I can, I go to photograph our galaxies, the Milky Way. Just in these days, some friends of mine were asking to me how to photograph the Milky Way, despite tons of video and tutorials in the net. To be honest, it's pretty easy to do it, but maybe a little tricky, because you need to keep in mind more things. Anyway, today I want to show you two methods to photograph the Milky Way. The one-shot Milky Way, with only one single shot, and the two-shot Milky Way, where we'll have the foreground in focus as well as the sky with the galaxy perfectly in focus, and from beginning to the end. So I'm gonna show you even the editing stage. Okay, for the Milky Way, I consider at least 6 steps. Step 1. Gear. The Milky Way is a subject pretty similar to a landscape, and for this reason I call it nightscape. Yes. Anyway, the best option for our galaxy is to use a full-frame camera, because the sensor has a better management of the chromatic noise using high ISO values. Indeed, we are gonna shoot at 3200 or 3000 ISO, maybe more. But it's hard to go more than 6400. But don't worry, if you have got an APS-C camera, you can always photograph the Milky Way. Maybe you'll use lower ISO values. The second gear to consider is the lens. Even though you can use almost every lens, if you like to see all the Milky Way, or at least the core with a big portion of the galaxy, I suggest to use a wide-angle lens. My favorite range goes from 12 to 35 mm. At the moment I've got a Sigma 14 mm and a Zeiss Batis 18 mm. For this video I'm gonna use the Zeiss Batis lens. The other aspect of the lens to consider is the aperture, considering you have to photograph in low light condition. Or better at night, you need a lens with a big aperture like f1.8, f2 or f2.8. If you can afford a f1.4 lens, it's better. The reason is only related to the amount of light that hits the sensor. The bigger is the aperture, the bigger is the light of the sensor. Simple. And that accessory, mandatory, I'd say, is the tripod, a good and sturdy tripod. It doesn't matter if it's in carbon fiber or metal, it's the same. Then you need a remote control, but it's not mandatory. But in case you won't include yourself in the scene, you'll need it. In situations like that, a wireless remote control is better than a cable control. And finally, a headlight lamp, a jacket maybe with a hood in case of damp hair, and a mosquito spray. Oh yes, don't forget it, or your photoshoot will be a nightmare. We'll use the M mode, manual mode, and we'll use the manual focus mode. Then ISO value from 3200 to 6400. The maximum aperture allows from your lens, and I hope it's at least f2.8. For the shutter speed, there is the first trick. The shutter speed can be calculated dividing a number for the focal length of your lens. If I have got a full-frame camera, you have to divide 600 for the focal length. So, for example, you have a lens of 20 mm of focal length, you have 600 divided by 20, with the result of 30 seconds. Actually, if I shoot for 30 seconds, it's easy, I get line stars. I mean stars like small lines. It's not good. The reason is due to the modern IRS sensors, so I prefer to use another value, 500 divided by 20, to have 25 seconds, but it's much more better. 25 seconds will be your shutter speed. For APS-C cameras, I use another value again, 400, so having a 200mm lens will have 300 divided by 20, with the result to have 15 seconds of exposition. Is it clear? In case, please let me know. I'll try to make maybe a specific video for this topic. As I said, the nightscape are like landscapes, so you need to consider the foreground as well the background with the Milky Way. Speaking about the foreground, it's nice to have a subject that guide the view up to the Milky Way, maybe some flowers or a lake or small old house, or why not yourself? Yes, in case there's nothing, you can use yourself as a guide, and for this reason you need a wireless remote control. Do you remember the gear? But it's also true that sometimes the environment is a little dangerous and there isn't a place where to stay while I'm shooting. So in situations like that, it's better to look for a balanced composition, trying to not include too much foreground, or at least only the best part. Over here I use two different kinds of software. The first one is for editing the Milky Way, and over here you can use your favorite software. In my case, I use Adobe Products. The second kind of software is for studying the location. Yes, another important aspect to consider is planning well the Milky Way photoshoot. For this reason, I use Planet Pro for Android app, an Android app that allows this to do a lot of things. I think this app is for iOS as well, even though many of you use photo pills. Anyway, with Planet Pro, some days before the photo shoot, I studied the spot where I want to go and I check out the position of the Milky Way, the position of the moon that I don't want in the scene because it makes too much light. And what's the best time for the Milky Way's core, as well as the position of the galaxy in relationship with the environment. Okay, you know, dark skies are the best option for the Milky Way, but even you are near a village or a small city, there's always a place quite dark to see the Milky Way. On the net there are a lot of websites that show the amount of light pollution in countries, so check out one of them before going outdoor for chasing the galaxy. Very well, I hope you are not sleeping now, because after talking a lot, it's time to photograph. First of all, I'm going to choose the main composition. Okay, now it's time to choose the composition. In this case, I know that the Milky Way will be between the small island and the cliff on the left. I'm gonna make a composition where I'll have the Milky Way perfectly in the center. Okay, you need to align the horizon perfectly. Very well. Now I'm gonna shoot at f11 because to shoot Milky Way I need to have all in focus from the beginning up to the island and the cliff as well. Then I'll take the final picture of only the Milky Way, but I can't do it at f11 because I couldn't have much light in the sensor. And I'm gonna shoot at f2.8. But in this case, for the reason I said before, I need to use f11. For the one shoot picture of the Milky Way, I'm going to use the diaphragm of f2.8, but having a lens with a wider aperture, maybe 1.8, like in the Sigma 14mm, or maybe with the new Sigma 14mm f1.4, you have the chance to use shorter shutter speed because the amount of light is much more. Pay attention when you plan to make a two shoot for the Milky Way, because both shoots must be in the same position. Okay, when you make the first one with at f10, f11 with all in focus, so the foreground and the background, you don't have to move the camera and the tripod as well in order to shade perfectly the two pictures when you will be at home. Well, and now I have to wait the night, but I don't want to waste your time, so let it be night. Okay. And now it's time to look for a star and to achieve the perfect focus. Well guys, now it's time to focus in the star. Now I set 6400 of ISO because I need to have as much light as possible. And now I'm gonna rotate the focusing ring, to look for some stars. And oh yes, I'm pretty lucky. As you can see, there are two, and if I move up and down the focusing ring, the star, okay, you can see getting the star more bright, or in some case right like in this one. This means that the star is in focus, and now I can shoot the first picture. So, are you ready? I think 6400 is too much, and I'm gonna shoot at 3200. So, let's go. Okay. Okay, very good. I think the stars are pinpoint, and as you can see, the cliff is not really in focus, as well as the small island. So it means that the focus is on the sky, and the stars are in focus. Now, because I'm really small, but I want to be really super sure. So I'm gonna wait for a while until the sky will be super dark, in order to make another shot to the sky, and finally I'll be able to shoot the Milky Way. Okay, guys, it's time to try a real picture of the Milky Way. So let's go. Okay, here we go. One moment. Yes. Oh, there is a meteor. Maybe. Yes. Or maybe satellite. I think satellite. I don't know. Or maybe a meteor. Anyway, the Milky Way is pretty good. And I'm gonna use this shoot for my 2-shot Milky Way. Very well. And now at home, it's time to editing the 1-shot Milky Way. For the purpose, I've just downloaded on the computer all my pictures. And for the 1-shot, I've chosen this one. It's pretty good. Okay, the first thing is to allow the develop mode. Okay. Usually I remove the chromatic aberration and I enable the profile correction for the lens, but in that case was a Sigma 14mm. Furthermore, I'm going to adjust the horizon because it's not straight. So okay, I think it's right now. Very good. Another thing is to adjust the sky. So I'm gonna make a new mask with only the sky. Okay, maybe I'm gonna subtract a little of this part of the mask because it's overlapping the foreground. So just a little. Okay, good. Now I can develop the Milky Way. So a little more contrast, but okay, maybe on the sky, not on the brush. So contrast. I decrease the highlights just a little. I decrease the whites as well, just a little. Clarity. Okay, not so much. Maybe a little of texture, even though
I think, okay. Well, with a more texture, I can see more stars. Good. A little more sharpness. And I reduce a little the noise. Okay, the sharpness, I can move the slider more on the right. And for this part of the image, it's all. Now it's time to editing the foreground. So I'm gonna add, here we go, the self background. Ok, no, questo è sbagliato. Very well. And now it's time to editing the foreground. The Milky Way is pretty good. So another mask. Create a new mask. Okay, I think it's better. I can try with the background, but as you can see, it selects everything. So from this I can subtract the sky. Well, and now, okay, shadow. Well, I think it's fine. Just a little of clarity. Okay, very well. Not so much because I'm going to introduce a lot of chromatic noise. So maybe a little less. As well as shadow. And a little of more contrast. Okay, the final image, I think it's pretty good. It's not so exaggerated. Okay, I confirm. Very good. And that's it. Now I'm gonna edit in Photoshop just to make the final adjustment. Well, now the first thing to do is to duplicate the layer. Here we go. Okay, in the one shot, as you can see, at 100%, okay, give or take, I don't know, 100. The small island and the cliff are slightly out of focus, but if you watch the whole version of the picture, it doesn't look so out of focus. But we can sharpen a little the whole image. it's too much. Okay, before and after, before and after. Okay, this part is a little better, even though I can increase the radius. Yes, it's slightly more contrast. Even in the foreground. Well, another adjustment is to use a curve just to increase the contrast. Well, nothing. This is my final image of the one-shot Milky Way. I'm gonna save. Great. And now it's time to editing the two-shot Milky Way. Okay, for the two-shot Milky Way, I'm gonna use this picture and this one. Well, okay, first of all, I go in develop mode. It's better to remove this spot. The sensor of my camera is really dirty. A lot of lines and spots of dust. Okay, well. Now, okay, auto white balance, remove chromatic aberration, sorry, and I enable the profile correction. So as you can see, the image is overexposed because it's a 25 second of exposition at f11 and at 400 as ISO value. So first of all, I'm gonna expose more correctly. Well, decrease the highlight. More vibrance. A little more clarity, and I'm gonna warm the image just a little in order to match better with this one, because in the small island, as the top illuminated by a part of the lighthouse, and this part of the cliff was illuminated from some cars. Well, no, it was okay. Here we go. Maybe I can increase the contrast. Okay, I think it's fine. And now I'm gonna edit the Milky Way. In this case, I don't make a mask for the sky because I don't need it. So, okay, let's try auto. No, it doesn't look like I saw the image in real. So as I should, a little more contrast, decrease the highlight, luminance. Texture, just only a little. Okay, more sharpening. A little of remove of the luminance noise. Okay, it's quite good. Okay, decreasing the white, I remove the glue that there is in this area, but I don't want to remove the luminosity of the galaxy, so actually yes, I think I'm gonna leave the value like that, so plus 11. And I think it's all. Okay, now I edit all the two pictures on Photoshop. Well, first one and the second one. Great. Now well, in this layer there is still some spot, so okay, should be fine. Now I'm gonna make a mask and I'm gonna use a gradient. Okay, the lower part of the image is too present, so okay, I'm gonna add with a brush changing, yes, it's fine. Okay, even though I think it's too much, so I exchange the black with the white. I'm gonna decrease the opacity, but I make a bigger brush. No, it's too much. Even still too much. Okay, I think it's much more natural. And this is my final image. Okay. I just realized that there is a problem. The horizon is not straight, so it's better to use this one as a reference. This layer, I mean. Well, this is my final 2 shots Milky Way. As you can see, it's pretty simple. You have just to play with mask and a brush and some adjustment, general adjustment. Very well. I think for today is all. Let me know what you think about this my method for editing the Milky Way, the 1 shoot and the 2 shoots. And mostly let me know what are your favorite editing method, because you know I'm always ready to learn something new, an alternative method. I don't know. I think there are much more better methods than mine. So please tell me know in the comment section below your way for editing the Milky Way. And another thing, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So thanks again. See you real soon. Bye bye.